Alright, so I'm going to do little bits and pieces of video here. I'm not going to take any video of me actually doing work, but I'm going to do a video of what I'm going to do to this old 1952 Massey Harris Model 33 as far as the 12 volt conversion goes. This is the 6 volt generator, and there's the bracket, and I think I can reuse that bracket and just modify it a little bit, and I will take a little video here and there as I do the work to show what I've done. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this tensioner bracket, and maybe I will get it to work with the alternator. I may not. As you can see here, the wiring is in very rough shape. I was using this is the Monday before Thanksgiving, 2015, and we had a big snowstorm here in southern Wisconsin. We got about 13-14 inches of snow here, and I was down at my church parking lot clearing out the driveway. This tractor does have a loader on it, and it was working beautifully, and I was shoveling out the where the snow plows. It had piled snow up in the driveway, and there's a little lip where the sidewalk, and you can see more of that bad wiring. Anyway, there's a lip where the sidewalk and the driveway approach meet, and I hit that with the bucket, and it kind of jarred the tractor a little bit, and the engine died. And I couldn't get to restart. Finally decided to take off one of the spark plug wires. And you can see they're old, just uninsulated or anything. I've got new spark plug wires to go on here too, but anyway, I couldn't get to restart. Took a spark plug wire off and grounded it. I think I put it right here on this loader support. Kind of scratched into it there and cranked it over, and no spark. So, somewhere in all this bad wiring, I don't know if the coil died in that little jolt, or if a wire shifted and something shorted. I'm not sure, but it's going to get a whole new setup. New spark plug wires, new coil, new alternator. Got a 12 volt battery instead of the 6 volt one, and yeah, it'll be all new. So I'll take little bits of video and talk about the work that I did. I'm not going to show any video of actually doing the work because, well, let's face it, that would end up being a pretty good series of videos, and I don't have that kind of time. So after I do some work, probably first thing I'm going to tackle is that alternator bracket. After I get that modified, I will take a little video of it and show you exactly what I did. Okay, so you can see here this is the mounting bracket for the generator, and I don't believe this works. There's pretty good amount of end play in there. It's probably no good. Sure, it could be rebuilt. And here's the new 12 volt alternator. Here's the box. It's a Carquest. I got it from Advanced Auto Parts. Here's the part number, 7127-3A. This is supposed to be one wire capable. Anyway, what I'm going to do is this bracket, hold on just a second, a little close here. This bracket went inside of the mounting flanges on the generator. So what I'm going to do is take a measurement here from inside where that face of that bracket was. I don't know if, let's get a straight on view. It looks like an inch and a half. Maybe we can come up here to the inside of, although there's play in there. That's kind of hard to go. I'm gonna, whoops, watch the camera too. Now it doesn't look like it on the camera really. That's about 1 5/8 to the center of that pulley. Plus, this is 1/4 inch thick, because we're going to use the inside face of this bracket to go against right here. So 1 5/8, 1/4 inch, so we got 1 7/8, and we got to figure out what's the difference now. Looks like we're about 7/8 of an inch. Alright, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to drill press here. We're going to drill these holes back 1 inch. Drill this one back 1 inch. I'm going to cut this flange off and then weld it back on up here to the width of, whoop, I just about knocked it down. Right here, this is the bottom where the pivot point's going to be. So I'll weld it back on enough, with enough room, maybe a little bit of play for this pivot point to sit in. So once I do that, I'll bring it back. Okay, so this is what I ended up with as my modification for the alternator bracket. This is the original generator bracket. This tab here was right here on the end, and I cut it off flush with a grinding wheel and welded it back on here. And I only needed it. I actually needed it about right where this hole is, about 2 inches from this flange, because the alternator is going to mount. I actually have to shim it out a little bit. I got a couple of washers, but I decided just to make it 3 inches, and then I'll use a nut and a washer on the inside here just to hold everything. I had to buy, my local hardware store sells 6-inch lengths of all thread. It was like $1.50, and then the nuts and washers and lock washers that I got to put everything together. So I'm going to mount this on the block here, and we'll get the alternator and see how that looks. And I'll stop the video and put it all together, and then bring the video back. Okay, so this is the finished project. This is what I ended up with. Well, not the finished project, but finished alternator mounting. As I showed before, this was the original bracket, and I just modified it. And if you can see here, I got a nut and a lock washer, and I had to shim it back. I moved the bolt holes. That empty hole there is the original mounting hole, and where the new bolt is, I moved it back 1 inch. And that was about as close as I could figure it, just kind of holding stuff together by myself. So I ended up using 2 washers to shim it back, and looks like the belt lined up quite nicely. like that. So that works if you end up doing this on your own. That's the dimension I ended up using. So, and the front just kind of, it's floating out here a little bit, but that's just the way it's got to be. And then I was able to reuse the top adjustment bracket. I did have to modify it a little bit though. The alternator ran out of clearance. And let's see if I can get in here to show you. But I had to take the grinder, and I probably got a little bit carried away, but ground out some of the bottom there so there was clearance for the alternator to be able to go through its swing. But that's all I had to do to that. So I reused everything. Didn't cost me anything except for some new hardware. Reuse, that's the original bolt up there where the other end of the adjustment mounts to the block. So that's the mounted alternator on the 1952 Massey Harris 33. That'll be the end of part 1, and hopefully I'll get some wiring done and start part 2 here. Hope to have you come back. Thanks for watching.